When the government closed Ashwood National Forest in 1978, they blamed it on unstable terrain. Nobody questioned it, nobody dared to, because Ashwood had always been a place people whispered about, but never discussed openly. A stretch of woodland so eerily quiet that hunters refused to enter it, and old families in Virginia claimed the land remembers more than it should. For decades, the forest remained untouched, fenced off, guarded, a dead zone on every map. Until last year, when the fences mysteriously fell. And the first person to step inside was a 33-year-old researcher named Daniel Rhodes, a historian obsessed with the disappearance of his great-grandfather, a surveyor who vanished in Ashwood in 1947. No remains were ever found, no equipment. Only his journal, discovered a mile away, filled with incoherent sketches of spirals, doorways, and strange coordinates that made no sense. The last entry read, "I heard the echo again. It knows my name." Daniel had spent his life trying to understand that one sentence, and on a frost-bitten morning in November, with fog crawling through the pines like living breath, he walked into Ashwood alone. The deeper he went, the quieter the forest became. Not the normal silence of nature, a deeper silence, the kind that felt deliberate, as if the trees were holding their breath. Even the wind refused to enter it. For 2 hours he wandered, following the old map his grandfather had drawn by hand. Eventually, he reached a clearing with soil darker than the rest of the forest, burned almost. In the center lay a stone circle, ancient, cracked, covered in moss, but arranged too perfectly to be accidental. And when Daniel stepped inside it, the ground vibrated. Just once, soft, like something far below had awakened. He knelt, brushing away dirt, revealing carvings on the stones, lines that twisted into spirals identical to those in his great-grandfather's journal. Beneath one stone, he found something metallic, a handle. He hesitated, then pulled. The ground split open with a sigh of cold air, revealing a stairway descending into darkness. Daniel swallowed hard, flicked on his flashlight, and went down. The stairs led to a massive underground chamber, impossibly old. The air smelled like dust and iron. Carvings covered the walls, constellations that didn't match the current sky, symbols that looked older than any known civilization, and at the center of the room, a circular stone platform. On it rested a device. It was small, the size of a book, made of stone and metal interwoven like a puzzle, and on one side, engraved deeply, was his great-grandfather's surname, Rhodes. Daniel froze. "How?" he whispered. Before he could touch it, a low hum filled the chamber. The platform began to glow faint blue. The carvings on the walls lit up sequentially, like a message waking from centuries of sleep. And then he heard it. A voice, but not through his ears, inside his skull, vibrating behind his eyes, measured and ancient. "You returned." Daniel stumbled back. "Who's there?" Silence stretched. Then the voice came again. "The one who opened the path, the one who carried memory through blood. Your name is known." Daniel's breath hitched. "Are you talking about my great-grandfather?" A different vibration answered, deeper, almost sad. "He heard the echo. You hear it too." The stone device on the platform shifted on its own. The spirals rearranged, the carving of the Rhodes name glowed faintly. Daniel reached out. As soon as his fingers brushed the surface, the world spun. He wasn't in the chamber anymore. He stood in the same forest, but decades earlier. The trees were young. The sky was sharper. Birds sang. And there, near the stone circle, stood a man with a canvas bag on his shoulder. His great-grandfather. The man turned slowly, eyes hollow, face pale. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. Daniel tried to step forward, but the forest twisted, animated like a living tapestry. His great-grandfather's voice dropped lower. "They only show the past. They loop it, engrave it, protect what it was built for." "What was it built for?" Daniel asked. His great-grandfather lifted a shaking hand, pointing behind Daniel. "For them." Daniel spun around. Dozens of figures stood at the tree line. They were human, or had once been, but their proportions were all wrong. Too tall, limbs too long, faces smoothed by time like statues half erased by erosion. Their eyes glowed faintly blue, mirroring the stone platform beneath the earth. They weren't alive. They weren't dead. They were waiting. "They're the Echo Keepers," his great-grandfather whispered. "Guardians of something older than all of us. I tried to leave the forest. I failed. Now you're here, which means the cycle is breaking." The world flickered like an old film strip. The trees blurred, the shadows stretched, the glowing figure stepped closer. Daniel felt pressure at the base of his skull, the same hum from the chamber. The same voice. "Correct the fracture, or you will remain." Suddenly he was yanked backward violently, falling, crashing. He hit stone. He was back in the underground chamber, gasping for air. The glowing figures were gone. The vision was gone. And the device on the platform now had a new line carved beneath his family name. "The last to hear the echo." The chamber's light dimmed. Dust rained from the ceiling. The walls began to shake. Daniel grabbed the device, shoved it into his backpack, and bolted up the stairs as the chamber collapsed behind him. He reached the forest floor just as the entire clearing caved inward, swallowing the entrance forever. The forest fell silent once more. Daniel stumbled back through Ashwood, the weight of the device dragging at his shoulders, the humming still faintly pulsing in his skull. When he reached his car, the hum stopped abruptly, and for the first time the device spoke aloud, faint, mechanical, ancient. "The echo does not end. It waits." Daniel looked back at the forest. The ground at the tree line shifted, almost imperceptibly, like something beneath the soil had moved. Something following him. He slammed the car door shut and drove away without looking back again. But that night, as he tried to sleep, he heard it. Faint, whispering, calling his name. And the last line in his great-grandfather's journal finally made sense. The echo is not a sound. It's a summons. And Daniel knew one thing with absolute certainty. Ashwood had not let him leave. It had released him because it needed him again. Soon, very soon.